Yo, what's going on? Delta Nian here, and today I wanted to do a tier list based on all the cards coming out. I haven't done one for the new Mythical Island set, and I couldn't find a tier list that had all the Pokemon on it, so just pretend these guys are all on one tier list. Let's start off the tier list with someone that everyone's familiar with, Celebi. This is just gonna be kind of how good I think the cards are right now, based on the current meta. So it's not based on how good the cards will be next set or whatever. I mean, it's kind of that. Like, Superior obviously is better than Celebi. Superior is gonna be good for a very, very long time, whereas Celebi is just good right now. So I do think Superior is S tier, whereas Celebi is A tier. And Superior brings up all grass type decks, right? So I think we could keep that in mind. I think I like that ordering here. And we're just gonna, I'm not really gonna explain it, I'm just gonna put it, you see where it goes, you know where the Pokemon is. I would say S tier is kind of like, it's premium, it's gonna be on every team, it's very, very good. A tier is kind of like, it's solid, it's not nothing crazy. Well, A tier is like very, very solid, like, it'll win you games consistently, but like, it's not as consistent and as overpowered as S tier Pokemon. B tier is like, sometimes it's gonna be very, very good, sometimes not. We will put Ponyta on here because I feel like you don't use this Rapidash in Blaine, but you do use the Ponyta. Volcarona, kind of the same tier as these Pokemon, like sometimes it's usable, sometimes not. So Landed, I would put in C tier. I think it's actually pretty good. Magikarp, pretty good. Gyarados, obviously one of the best decks to come out of this set, which I didn't expect, if I'm being honest. We will put Vaporeon here. I don't think it's as good as I thought it would be, but I don't think it's bad either. This Pikachu is an upgrade from the other Pikachu. It doesn't actually really matter most of the time. But you can do 10 extra damage, but sometimes it's just nice to have it. I don't think the Raichu is even good, so we're not going to put it there. I do think that Electabuzz is actually very, very good. Especially with the, I do think Electabuzz is very good right now, with Magikarp being very prominent. LGM, kind of good, honestly, in certain decks. Primeape, I think, is worth mentioning, but not great. Golem, I think it's B tier. It's doing pretty good right now, but I don't think it's anything special. I think Marshadow is, though. We have the new Coughing. I think it's very, very good. Scolipede can go with Coughing. Druddigon, honestly, it's gonna go on S. I gotta be honest, it's just a very good tank. Cheap retreat, damage for nothing, basically, and it can stop your opponent from even doing damage most of the time. I really wanted Pidgeot to be good, but it's just not. It's okay, but it's not winning you games most of the time, which is what it's supposed to be doing. Tauros also is not great. It's 3 energy, so it's kind of a big investment. We got Aerodactyl here, kind of good, kind of bad. Very situational Pokemon. What else? The new Eevee, also pretty good. Could win you games, but also not win you games. Leaf is going straight in S tier. I mean, come on. If you play the game at all, you know that Leaf is insane. I do think Budding is better than Mew, funnily enough. Mythical Slab as well. I feel like I'm not really explaining my reasonings here, but it should be obvious if you play the game any amount. I feel like I don't really need to explain what's going on here. Yeah. If you play the game, you know what's going on. I guess I do put the new Pidgey on the tier list. It is pretty good. If you want me to put some F tier Pokemon, let's go. I don't actually think we needed to do this. Cause I'm not ranking every Pokemon, I gotta be honest. But I just want to throw in a couple F tiers in there just to fill out the tier list. For anybody interested. Oh, I forgot to rank Dedenne. Dedenne, pretty good actually. Especially versus Gyarados. Pikachu just can't KO Gyarados. But if you get a couple of flips with Dedenne, you can. And it's doing actually pretty considerable damage to Gyarados with that 30 damage every turn. Florges is FE. I don't know why I was hovering like it's anywhere else. Now let's take a look at the old Pokemon. Where are they going? Venusaur fell off the planet, but he's gone. Not a good Pokemon anymore. It's just, why would you run this when you could run Celebi? Executor, a solid A tier. It's not taking over the meta, but it's a very, very strong Pokemon. I think Weepinbell can also be thrown in here somewhere. Where's Weepinbell? No, Victory Bell. Victory Bell could actually do some things, so let's go on an E tier. Any other grass Pokemon worth noting? I guess you can also put Lilligant in that same tier. Zard. I think Zard is a solid B tier right now. I think it's actually pretty good into something like Gyarados and stuff, but Arcanine is just better most of the time because it's faster, only needs 3 energy, not discarding any energy. And most of the time that actually does make a difference, so we're gonna have that be there. I think Moltres is our first S tier. I think this Pokemon is gonna outlive every fire type that is currently good. It's actually really insane. We're gonna have Rapidash be in C tier. Very solid Pokemon, very strong. Salandit. I think people are sleeping on Centiskorch. I think Centiskorch is very good. 4 energy for 130, only a stage 1, and it only discards 1 energy per attack, so you could just chain attacks after getting your 4 energy, which I think is pretty strong. We got Ninetales as well. I put it in the same tier as Rapidash. I mean, they're both great, and they're both using the same deck, right? We got Blastoise next coming here. Not great, not bad. Starmie. I think Starmie is solid A tier as well. Not in the upper echelon, but definitely a strong Pokemon. I think something like Articuno actually fell off, and it's going in B tier as well. I honestly haven't even seen an Articuno deck since this new set is released, which I don't think is necessarily telling of Articuno. I feel like people are trying out new things. Greninja's going in S tier. I'm sorry. Being able to attack from the bench is very, very strong. If you get 2 of them, you're doing 40 damage for free. It basically prevents your Pokemon from, prevents your opponent from being too passive by being super, super aggro. So for that, it's going in S tier. I feel like I didn't really explain most of the Pokemon's placements, but I think that's okay. This is just a quick tier list I wanted to put out there for people. Raichu, very, very strong. Solid B tier, I would say. I think it's better than the new Raichu, and it gets things done. Pikachu, S tier. Strong Pokemon, strong Pokemon. Still one of the fastest attackers in the game. You do not want to ignore Pikachu. Zapdos is going in C tier. I don't think it's as good as something like Articuno or Charizard. It's pretty good in Pikachu decks, but Pikachu decks are honestly starting to move away from Zapdos. The main benefit to Zapdos was the different weakness to most electric types, but honestly, you don't really care about that anymore. We got Alakazam here. We're gonna go with the basic art Alakazam. D tier. It can get stuff done, but most of the time, stage 3, kind of scary. Same with Gengar, D tier. If you can get it, you can get it. It's pretty good, but most of the time you're not going to get it. Hypno, I just want to mention it, but it's not really anything special, right? Here we go, Jinx. I think Jinx actually moved up to at least be a C tier Pokemon. It's situationally very strong. There's a lot of Pokemon that are building up a lot of energy now, so you don't even need to worry about Jinx anymore. Like, you can just slap it in your deck and have it actually perform pretty well. Gardevoir, it's gonna be an A tier Pokemon. It does require 3 stages, so that's what's kind of holding me back from S tier. Superior is also a stage 3, but the thing is, Superior doubles your energy, so even if it's not present for most of the game, because you have to wait to get it, when it's there, it doubles your energy, so I think that's a very strong effect, whereas Gardevoir is just adding an energy, which, don't get me wrong, is a very, very strong thing to do, but it's not actually gonna affect as much as Superior, I think. And I also think Mewtwo is here in A tier. It's very, very strong, but we're starting to see a lot of Pokemon actually be able to live Mewtwo. We got Gyarados, Pidgeot, Zard, I think that's it, and Golem. We just have a lot of Pokemon that are actually being able to eat Mewtwo's attacks, and that's not good for Mewtwo, honestly. Mewtwo wants to be one-shotting things, but it's just not anymore right now, so that's what makes me put it in A, not S. What else we got here? Ground types worth mentioning. I mean, Primeape was always worth mentioning, I guess. Pretty solid. Can be pretty good, but the low HP makes it a little bit scary. Machamp. I don't know how to feel about Machamp. I want it to work so bad, but it's just not good. Marowak. I think Marowak is going to be our first stinker for sure. Just the luck you need is not really worth it anymore, and a lot of the Pokemon are not getting one-shot by double heads anymore. Before, it was manageable because basically only Zard would be able to live if you got double heads, but now with other Pokemon being added, it's just not looking good for it. We actually have Weezing here. Weezing might be A tier. Maybe I'm overestimating it, but it's a very, very strong Pokemon. And Dark is just getting better and better, and the Koga Bounce is just going to get better and better, you know? Melmetal, sorry. You're just bad. Wigglytuff is a sad one to see. Wigglytuff I actually thought was pretty good, but it's starting to fall off. I mean, why run Wigglytuff when you could build up your Pidgeot, or you could run Shruddigan and build something else up, you know? Not really seeing any usage anymore. What else we got here? Meowth is not seeing any usage either. I don't know why I grabbed Full Art Meowth, but here it is. I think Meowth is solid. Speaking of Meowth, that made me think, I forgot to play Sigilyph. Very strong C tier Pokemon. It's situational in that you have to run it in Psychic decks, but when you actually run it, it's very, very worthwhile. We have Old Pidgeot, which I think is actually still a solid Pokemon, but not more solid than anything in the E tier. What else do we have here? Ditto, Tauros, Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan, you basically got replaced. I mean, you were a solid tank for a while, but now you're going in F tier because you've just been replaced for a zero energy tank. Dragonite. Very sad case. I thought it was actually a very solid niche deck, but I can't justify putting it anywhere above D. It just takes too much to ramp. You need so much energy, and honestly, Pokemon are starting to have a lot of health. It's not good for you. What else do we rank here? Is there any other Pokemon we rank? Obviously, Professor Research and Pokeball are going to go S tier. They help you just cycle through your deck way, way faster. I feel like that's a no-brainer. I think X-Speed is also going in the S tier. Just being able to move your Pokemon around for cheap or for free is very, very strong. I feel like there's no question about that. Everyone knows that X-Speed is busted, because it is. The game is kind of built around things like X-Speed and Pokeball and stuff, you know? So they're probably going to be reprinted a lot. Potion, I think, is a solid A tier. It can definitely swing you battles. get you out of those breakpoints where your opponent can KO you, and overall just win you games. Red card I think is bait. It can win you games, so I'm gonna respect it and put it in D, but that's the most respect it's gonna get. Surge is very situationally strong, so I don't think I can justify putting it in S tier, but I'll put it in B tier. Same tier as Raichu. If you get it off, it's obviously very strong. Whereas something like Erica, now that's an obvious S tier. Being able to heal 50 instead of 20, very insane for grass type Pokemon, obviously. Misty is next. Misty can swing you games, but it's very inconsistent, so it's going in B. A lot of the time you're not even going to get value from it. 50% of the time it does nothing. So just keep that in mind. Blaine is also very situational. I feel like a lot of these are very situational. I think Koga will be higher tier than most of these though. It's going to be an A tier. When it activated, it is very, very strong. So we need to keep that in mind. Giovanni, doing that extra 10 damage, it's just like, who would think that 10 damage really makes that big of a difference? It does. It gets you over those certain breakpoints to take KOs that you otherwise wouldn't be able to, so it's definitely an S tier, in my opinion. Brock, very situational. I mean, New Golem is good, so that does help Brock a lot, but it's a lot more situational than the others. It does require the Pokemon to be fully evolved as well, which is a stage 3 and a basic, kind of just whatever. Sabrina, obviously S tier. I mean, do we even need to debate that? I feel like we don't. So yeah, there's my kind of quickfire tier list. Didn't really explain too much, but I feel like you know where everything goes. This Mewtwo kind of fell off. Sorry, baby Mewtwo. And yeah, this is it. These are my S tiers. My S tiers right now are Superior, Gyarados, Druddigon, Leaf, Budding Expeditioner, Mythical Slab, Moltres, Greninja, Pikachu, Professor Research, Pokeball, X-Speed, Erica, Giovanni, and Sabrina. Let me know if you disagree with any of these S tiers or A tier Pokemon, by the way. A tier is Arcanine, Starmie, Executor EX, Gardevoir, Mewtwo, Weezing, Potion, Koga, Celebi, Electabuzz, Mew, and Marshadow. I don't think any of these other Pokemon are worth ranking. I think New Coughing is not good. Tarantula just doesn't get it done most of the time. Magmar's Cope. This thing, why would you use this instead of something like Golbat? I don't know. Maybe the 10 extra HP. Did I miss anything major on this? There's a lot of Pokemon in Genetic Apex. I guess I didn't rank Lapras. It's okay. You're not gonna use it, but if you do, you're gonna lose. Arbok kind of fell off. You don't really use it anymore. I saw some people using Grapple Locks, but I think that's Cope. Lickitung's not good. Dodrio's not good. Yeah, I think I'm happy with how my tier list looks. Let me know if you disagree with any of the Pokemon on the tier list. And yeah, that's going to be me quick firing the tier list. It still ended up being about 20 minutes, but you know what? I'm happy with how things turned out. If you disagree with anything or you think anything should be moved, please let me know in the comments. And with that being said, this is Delta Neon out. Peace.